Encore. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to join us for this webcast. We've had a great turnout. As your customer sales manager, I continually am asked to look for new and innovative solutions for our customers to improve their business operations. This solution is one of my favorites in the Microsoft Partner Channel, and I think it's truly because it's not industry specific. It's simply solving the issue of managing paper processes. In fact, we already have a few customers using this solution actively in their Dynamics environments, and I'm pretty sure their first comment would be, we are not sure how we ever got along before it. The solution is KwikTag, a market-leading document and business process management solution with a fast ROI and a low cost of ownership. To show what I'm talking about, I'd like to hand this over to our presenter, Stuart, with ImageTag. Stuart?
Thank you, Melissa. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm just going to switch on to my next slide. So we did some introductions. What I want to do today is talk a bit about some of the pains that I've heard from companies that have to manage paper, what they've experienced, and I hopefully not. I hope they resonate with you guys, but hopefully they don't too much. Then I'll give you guys a quick overview of ImageTag, and then we'll go right into a demo of KwikTag for Dynamics GP, and we'll show you how to capture paper and electronic documents easily within accounts payable, for example, and then show you how we amp that up and show our workflow and approvals and how that integrates into GP. So a little bit about some of the pains when we talk to customers. 5-10 years ago, when people talked about document management, they always talked about paper. And I'm going to talk about paper today. I'm hoping that your office doesn't look like this today. I'm not suggesting that anyone on this call has a desk that does look like this, but paper is not just the problem that we're experiencing today. We get a lot of emails, we get a lot of stuff electronically that relates to payables and financial transactions. So over and above the paper, we still have to worry about the electronic documents that come into our organization, and we need to be able to address those as well. So I'm going to show you today how we address both the paper and electronic documents within GP, and I tend to use both terms interchangeably, so excuse me on that. I'll say document management. When I say document management, I'm probably talking about paper and electronic documents. So typically when we do talk to people, the first thing they always say when they're talking about the pains they experience around KwikTag or around Great Plains and managing paper is first and foremost they don't want to lose accounts payable documents, and by no way am I suggesting that anyone on this call loses documents. We actually misplace them. So what we want to do is be able to minimize that and actually enhance the retrieval times to be able to find those documents that are misplaced. We want to be able to reduce the manual labor associated with managing paper and electronic documents, be able to retrieve that information quickly and easily, not on its own, but also in a line of business application like Dynamics GP. And then, of course, be able to attach documents, and when I say documents, I mean paper and electronic, not only in GP AP screens, but throughout Great Plains, and we'll show that to you today. So I hope some of this resonates with you guys. I'm hoping not too much, because then we have a bigger pain, but we can address that. So a little bit about ImageTag. ImageTag is located out of Tempe, Arizona. We were founded in 1997. I'm actually out of Montreal. And I'm actually in the Arizona office today, and you guys could just imagine in the middle of February when it's 20 below zero how much I love coming to visit the head office here. We were actually the first fully embedded GP solution, capture solution with GP back in 2004, and we're pretty proud of that. From there, we have well over 750 customers and over 300,000 users using our solutions today, which is very, very cool. And one thing that's very interesting to note is we actually have 98% customer retention on our solutions. Now, being from the software space for over 20 years, I could just imagine most people are thinking, I always thought that's almost impossible, but it's truly a testament not just to our software, but to our people and also our relationship with our partners like Encore. And when you guys see fit, you could always talk to any one of our customers. I gave you that famous NASCAR screen that you should see in front of you now of a sampling of some of the customers, and to echo what Melissa said, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You could be a 3-user GP implementation or a 50-user GP implementation. Doesn't matter. It's wherever that paper or electronic document burden exists. And whenever you guys see fit, we could set up a time, with regard to implementation, with regard to business case use with any one of our customers. So I said a bit earlier, paper documents were just part of it. electronic documents are another. So really, paper documents are really just the tip of the iceberg. So we're going to talk today about document management. And again, like I suggested, document management is going to be paper and electronic documents. We're going to focus on AP, but in the back of your mind, keep on thinking that we could do this in any of the modules, and we'll talk about those modules in a bit within GP. So we actually take a holistic approach. We're going to talk at document management, then we're going to go down to the business process management. So I want to give you guys an example. You walk into your CFO's office, and there's paper strewn throughout his or her desk. Each one of those pieces of paper has a business process associated with it. Now that process may be just shoot me out, use it as a coaster for my coffee, but there is a process there. So what we've done is we've taken our capture methodology, worked with our partners and customers, amped it up, and really brought into case workflow and approvals where you're able to do reviewing, approving, and auditing of all those paper and electronic related documents and transactions of GP. Now, if we go down that value chain from document management to business process management, that's where you start talking about transactional content management, where we bridge together your ERP system, other business applications, and KwikTag, giving you guys a closed loop at how to manage paper and electronic documents. And we'll show some of that to you today. So like I said a bit earlier, when we talk about where we sit within GP, we're actually embedded across 73 screens. Here's a sample of some of the modules that we're embedded across. Keeping in mind, if you have a custom application, custom screen, we can actually work with your team to embed the KwikTag technology there. And you know, it's not uncommon that when we see a lot of customers and want us to embed it in a specific screen or module, it becomes part of our core product. We really are a market-driven solution. Today we're going to focus on accounts payable or payables management. But of course, we can support POP and SOP and GL, et cetera, et cetera. So let's talk a bit about workflow as well. So what is workflow? It's really that business process management of managing document and data, the approvals, rejections, delegation. So a lot of times when I ask people before they look at KwikTag, I say, hey guys, tell me a bit about your AP process. And what ends up happening is they say, this is what our AP process looks like. It's a bunch of spaghetti and it's messy and it's crazy. And I'm not suggesting that everyone on this call has that problem. What I am suggesting is your process probably looks something very similar to what you see on your screen. You make an order, you buy something, a vendor puts that information into his or her ERP system, you go to snail mail, it finally gets at your desk, and then it does the 500-yard dash between the photocopier and all the different people that need to approve that piece of paper. And of course, that piece of paper gets misplaced, as we said earlier, and it goes around and around and again. And at the end of the day, it typically takes anywhere between 35 and 40 days to process that document, and then you pay it. So what I'm suggesting is let's put in KwikTag, and with KwikTag, all that processing of that document, all that time, all occurs within KwikTag. Now today, I'm going to show you a simple single-level workflow within KwikTag. Now, let me make it very clear, KwikTag, and I'll reiterate this during our demo, is a highly configurable solution. It's not customizable. It's a highly configurable solution. So we do support that multi-level business process management. We can support that, and if you want, we could do a detailed demo around it. But today, just for the sake of time, we're going to really focus on that single level for you guys. So a lot of people say, okay, well, tell me what's the value behind KwikTag? Well, first and foremost, it is a practical, proven solution with over, well over 300,000 users and 700 companies using our tools. We're directly embedded within GP, which people like because it's part of their line of business. Our capture methodology is second to none with patents around it, and I'll show that to you next. And because our solution allows for a phased approach, you could capture paper documents and electronic documents today, get used to the system and love it, and then when you're ready, we could put in the workflow. So it doesn't have to be a large integration project. We could start small, get you used to it, small steps, and use the entire solution. We really believe in that phased approach. When we talk about the routing and approval, you don't need any specific GP licenses for that or any other view-only or SharePoint licenses. It's not required for our solution. It's a simple, efficient web-based application that you use from a smartphone or email to approve invoice-related transactions, and I'll show that to you today. And again, because it's highly configurable, we could support normal, regular workflow and business processes to the most complex processes we've seen on the market today. So again, to reiterate, It is a web application that typically can be implemented within weeks and getting even captured as well as in workflow. So you're probably saying, that's fantastic, Stu, but really how do you get all those paper documents into a digital format? Well, it's quite simple. It all revolves around the KwikTag dispenser, which you see on your screen right now. So in that dispenser, those is a roll of globally unique and sequential KwikTag labels, and you'll notice on that picture there's a 9-digit number and a barcode. That 9-digit number and barcode is globally unique and sequential to you. So KwikTag knows my next number. That's all you got to remember. And since KwikTag knows my next number, Dynamics GP knows my next number. So those barcodes really act as document directors, but also as document separators. So if you look at my desk, I have a dispenser, and I have a piece of paper on there. I go into Great Plains. I'm in a transaction that you guys are all very familiar with. I hit additional, and I tag a document. Very, very cool. What happens is a pop-up comes on your screen. It shows you a 9-digit number. Because it knows I'm logged into GP and my numbers are globally unique and sequential, the 9-digit number you see on that pop-up is going to match the next label in my dispenser. I just need to visually look at that number. It makes sense, and I tag the document that I have on my screen. I just tag it on the lead sheet of this multi-page document. Now, the thing that's cool about this is I don't need to go to my copier now. I could keep tagging documents in AP, in AR. Melissa could tag documents, Calais could tag documents. I don't need to scan now. I only scan when it's convenient. When it's convenient, I go to any digital copier, any scanner, any multifunction device. I could take Melissa's documents. I could take purchase documents, payables documents, HR documents. I scan all the documents at one time. The documents will travel the network. They'll hit the KwikTag server. KwikTag server will see the barcode, read the barcode, and associate it with the Great Plains transaction. That process is done, and now those documents are associated within my line of business application. Now you're probably saying it can't be that simple. Well, I'm going to show you how it works. It is that simple. So I think I'll stop talking about PowerPoints and go right into a demo. So if you guys give me 1 second, what you're going to see in front of you is actually my GP 2013 interface. Before I actually even go into that, what I want to show you here is the web interface for our solution itself. And I'm actually going to log back in to show you the interface. It is a true web interface. I don't care if you're running Safari. I don't care if you're running a Mac. It does not matter. I'm going to log in here as an indexer. You have to excuse, we're not so creative with the names of the people logging in. So I'm going to log in as an indexer. And what you're going to see in front of you is my interface on day-to-day. Now you'll see across the top, we have documents, we have a work queue, and we'll talk about the work queue a little bit later. We have cases and reports and searching. Let's go look at the documents first. Keep in mind, KwikTag itself is a virtual filing room. So you not only have the ability to scan and manage Great Plains documents, you can actually scan and manage non-GP documents. So you may not do HR within GP and want to manage your HR documents. Well, you can do that. I actually have done that myself. I have a drawer here that we call folders, but it's akin to a drawer. And I have a Stu HR drawer over here. And these are all the documents in my HR drawer. Who the document's for, what kind of document type, when it was scanned. If I want to see the document, I just need to right-click, and there's the actual document that was scanned in. So keep in mind, we actually cross the hall for you. You can manage your documents in GP, but you can also manage non-GP related documents. Now, if I go a little bit further into this and I go into the Fabricam site, you're probably familiar with that name, you'll notice all these folders or drawers relate to screens that you understand or akin to right from within GP. So that's how that works. I just want to give you an idea of the structure of KwikTag. What I'm going to do now is go right into Great Plains, something you're very familiar with, and I'm going to actually scan in the document on the payable side. Before I do that, though, I do want to show you what my desk looks like. I hope I don't scare anybody with this picture. I'm going to wave at you guys. What I have in front of me is a one-page document right over here, an invoice, and I have a KwikTag label dispenser right over here with my labels. And I want to attach this document to a transaction in GP. And I'm just going to move my screen over a little bit. And what you see over here is my trusty multifunction scanner. Keep in mind, it doesn't have to be in my desk. It could be a scanner sitting in your hallway. It could be sitting in someone else's desk. I could be in another office totally. It does not matter. But I'm fortunate enough to have one sitting right next to me for this demo. So I'm going to wave goodbye. Let's just go right into GP. So I have a transaction entry over here, something you're very familiar with. I'm going to pick a vendor. Let's pick, for example, America Charge. I have an amount over here for about $1,500. Pretty simple. I'll pick a batch. I love picking the stew batch because it just sounds so much fun. Document number, I'm just going to actually use ENC1 for this particular PO and document number for Encore. And a shipping method, something we always know, we always do within GP. Now what we're going to do a bit different is we're actually going to go over here to the additional menu item, select that, and when I do select that, I'm going to select tag documents. It's going to come up with a pop-up over here with a 9-digit number and that barcode. I'm going to go into the comment field. I'm going to say this is an email, this is a document for a chair. And at this point, all I need to do, and I'm just going to go again back to my camera, is take my KwikTag off my dispenser. Can you guys see that over there? You'll notice it's 103-884-556. I'm going to take it, put it on the lead sheet. It's only a one-page document. If it's a 5-page document, just put it on the first page right over here, and I'm done. If I go back into Great Plains, I just have to hit OK. I'm done. What actually happened there is Great Plains made a reservation, a placeholder, in KwikTag matching that paper document to this transaction via that KwikTag label. Now if I want, let's go scan it just for the simplicity purposes of it. So I'm going to go back to my camera over here. I'm going to stand up, go right over here. I'm going to go to my digital copier. I'm going to select scan. I'm going to select, I have a setting here that's set up just for me. And what you should see here in the background is that document going through the sheet feeder. And I'll explain what's actually happening now. Love making that noise in the background. What's actually happening is this document is actually traveling the network. Keep in mind, it could be traveling the internet. It doesn't really matter. It's traveling the network, hitting the KwikTag server. KwikTag server sees that barcode, reads that barcode, associates the document with the appropriate Great Plains transaction. Process is complete. I don't need to worry anymore about this physical piece of paper because it's now been associated with that GP transaction. Now, before I show that to you, you're probably saying to yourself, okay, Stu, you did talk a little bit earlier that we deal with paper documents and electronic documents, but what about all those emails and electronic documents? How do you handle that? It's really simple. I'm going to go additional, tag documents. That same pop-up comes up on your screen. I'm going to put a comment here and say this is an email from John, for example. Now, you'll see over here I have Outlook opened, and you'll notice there's a Stu demo. And in that Stu demo, there's an invoice with it from Advanced Office Systems. Let's pretend it's not for Advanced Office Systems, but it's actually for the transaction we're looking at. And what all I need to do at this point is take that actual email, and I drag it. You see how I'm wiggling around over here? I dump it in the middle. It's going to say, hey, Stu, are you sure you want to attach this email to this transaction? Yes, I do. It's that simple. It's now attached the email with the attachment to this particular transaction. Now, at this point, if I delete the email from Outlook or Exchange or anything, it's still available to me within GP. Now, we can even take it a step further. I can attach a document that's sitting on my network or sitting on a USB key. It doesn't matter. I'll do additional tag documents. Now, one thing I want you guys to realize, my barcode number is 557. Remember my barcode on my document earlier was 556? You're probably saying, how come it didn't increment on the email? You only use those KwikTag labels for paper documents. It knows it's an electronic document, so you don't need the KwikTag label. It has an internal label there. So I'm just going to put a comment saying, you know what? This is a Word document. I'm going to open up my Windows Explorer here. On my desktop, I have some sample documents. I'll just pull one out. Right over here, I'll pick up this Word document. It's saying, hey, Stu, are you sure you want to attach this document? Yes, I do. So all these documents have been attached. I attached an email with an attachment. I attached a Word document. And I attached a scan document. Now, I could leverage the query functionality of GP to search for those documents, but for the sake of time in this demo, I'm just going to do it right from here. So I just go to Additional, and at this point, all I need to do is say View Documents. And what you're going to see in front of you now is that one-page PDF right over here, and I'll open that up. There's the actual document with the barcode 556 on it. And I may be talking quicker than what you see on your screen. And if I wanted to actually see the email, look at this. I go right to this email. It actually has the actual email with the actual PDF attached, just like that. That simple. Now, what's pretty cool about this solution, you may have to send these documents to people that are not part of your network. Well, that's easy to do also. If I go into additional view documents, and I have these 3 documents here, I have the PDF, the email, and the Word document, I could select one of them, I could select 2 of them, I could select all of them, and I could actually either print them, which I wouldn't want to do, but email them to people that are not even part of the organization. It's that simple. So I just showed you there how easy it is to attach paper and electronic documents, including emails and Word docs and PDFs to a GP transaction, making your life easy right there in terms of not losing documents. Now let's amp that up. Let's bring that out to the whole world of using that workflow and approval. So I'm just going to actually change screens again. I'm going to go right over here. I'm logged in as an indexer, and I'm going to go to my work queue. So this is my work queue. So let me give you the scenario what I'm going to replicate here. Invoices come into the organization. At the reception desk, those invoices are taken out and they're scanned. And they are routed right to the KwikTag indexer's work queue. That could be an accounts payable clerk. You know, the indexer name could be an accounts payable clerk, could be Joe, Sam, it doesn't matter. My work queue is what I have to do today, what I need to index. So keep in mind, I don't have to be a GP user now. I'm just logged into KwikTag. Over here on the right is a copy of the document that have come in. Here are some of the metadata associated with this. And over here, this is my work queue selection. So because it is a highly customizable solution, we have different workflow rules in our demo environment. You probably wouldn't have that many in your environment. I'm going to select invoices. And you'll notice over here on the left, my criteria changed. Well, this is the criteria we've determined is required to initiate a workflow for these particular documents that came in. So I'm going to select company ID. Again, we handle multiple companies, so you'd be able to do this. I'm going to select Fabricam. For the document number, I'm going to actually use ENC2. And for the purchase amount, well, look, there's the document right there. This is what was scanned in from reception. I'm just going to put $1,500. And this relates to advanced office systems. Now look at this. I could just go over here to my magnifying glass. Can't even do this in GP. And I could actually search for advanced office systems. I could select that, hit submit. It brings in the vendor ID right there. Now if I want, if this is part of my business process, I can make sure the indexer selects the appropriate GL distribution. There's a magnifying glass there as well. What it does at this particular point, it actually takes the default GL accounts that are within GP. But if you want to make some change and say, you know what, there's $10 there that relates to freight, I could actually search the actual GL accounts. There's freight, and if I wanted to, I could add it. I'm not going to for the demo, but I could do that. And our solution always makes sure those functioning totals equal up. So just like a T account, those numbers have to add. I'm going to leave it alone for accounts payable and for supplies allocated and hit submit. And I'm going to say, you know what, for my comment, she needs a phone. And that's it. At this point, all I have to do is hit submit. And when I hit submit, you're going to notice this number 9 over here becomes a number 8. So I'm just working through my work queue the whole day. Now what I did there is I actually took that piece of paper and I actually attributed to it a vendor ID, GL distribution, and an amount. But I also initiated a workflow that relates to that particular piece of paper. Now in our particular example, our workflow is once something is actually indexed, like I just showed you, what would happen is an approver would get an email. The approver would get an email to approve the transaction, and he or she could approve it as an email, go into a web interface. It's up to us. So I'm going to actually go here. I'm now logged in as an approver. If I refresh this, you'll notice that my index here goes from 4 to 5. But before I do that, I'm going to actually go into email, because I am logged into as an approver. I'm going to actually go Tools, Send, Receive. And when I do that, it's actually going to show me an email. And it's going to say, hey, Stu, there is an email to be approved. It's for Fabricam. It's for a document number ENC for $1,500. And it's actually, and there's the GL codes in advance. And if I wanted to, I could double click on it. There's the copy of the invoice. And if I wanted to, right from here, I could take it a step further, and I could actually approve it or reject it right from my email. It's that simple. Now, we're going to take it a step further. A lot of people are traveling, and they don't have access to their notebook. What they can do, and I'll just do this for 1 second, I'm going to go switch to my camera, and I'm just going to show you right in front of your screen there's a simple iPhone email that I received, and you'll notice there's the actual email to be approved. There's the GL codes that I talked about a bit earlier that you can see, and you'll notice right over here on the bottom is the actual copy of the image. I could double click on that, and there's the actual image I've approved. And if I wanted to, right from my smartphone, I could approve that transaction. Very powerful when you have people that are in the field that need to approve transactions. They could do that right from their smartphone, not slowing down your whole process of approving invoices. Now, I'm not going to approve it here, and I'm not going to approve it in my email because I want to show you what it looks like to approve it right from the web interface. So I'm going to go back into my web interface. So just give me 1 second. And back at the web interface, I'm right over here. I see that it's for ENC, it's for $1,500. And you know what, I'm going to put a comment here. I'm going to go, well, he talks too much, but give him the phone. Now at this point, you know, I could decide, you know what, I'm not really responsible for the office equipment around phones and stuff like that. If I wanted to, I could actually delegate this approval to someone else, and I need to put a comment there. I'm not going to do that for this transaction, but I just want to make it available, make it known to you guys. It's actually, again, configurable to allow for delegation of duties. And at this point, all I'm going to do is hit approve. Now, when I hit approve, you'll notice that 5 goes down to 4. So what happened now, let's just reiterate, document came into reception. It got flowed to an indexer or an accounts payable person. They indexed or set criteria up against that paper transaction. They said, okay, it's for this GL account, it's for this vendor, it's for this amount. Then when they hit submit, an approval process came in. That could have been based on dollar amount, whatever you want, and at that point it came to the approver, and he or she or myself approved it. Our process now, how it's designed for this particular demo, is complete. So what ended up happening now is they have 2 options. What it will do is we have something called STP, which is called straight-through processing, and I don't want to get it confused with the motor oil. It's just really, it's what it does is it takes the transaction that I've actually indexed here, the paper document, and with all those indexed information, and it would create a voucher within GP. But a lot of CFOs say, no, we're not doing that right away. Let's, for the first few months, let's still have a holding queue available for us in GP with all those documents that are coming through our workflow. So, and then typically once they get that comfort level going nicely with KwikTag for GP, they just flip a switch and they turn in the straight-through processing. So I'm going to go back into GP over here. And I am going to go into this transaction. I'll just do additional. And you'll notice I have an option there called View Work Queue. Well, let's click on that. When I hit that View Work Queue, you should see 2 items there on the invoice section. There's an old one that I did over here for Stu 4 that I like keeping there. But there's one over here for the ENC2 document. Now, I could right-click on that, and if I wanted to, I could actually view the document that's associated with this transaction. That's great. Let's create the transaction in GP. All I need to do at that point is hit Create. It'll ask me, do you want to do a new batch or attach it to an existing one? Let's attach it to Stu because we like Stu. And I'll hit Yes. And you'll notice in this work queue that ENC transaction is no longer there. Now I'm going to go right into GP over here. I'm going to do a search right over here for a voucher. And I'm going to select for document number, sorry. And I'm going to hit ENC. Oh, sorry, I didn't type it in properly. Sorry. Document number, ENC2. And there it is. I'll hit select. And there's the phone with the $1,500. It's that simple. Now, if I want to see the document, I'll hit additional, view document, and there's the actual document. So let's, again, reiterate. Document came in. Someone at reception scanned the documents, initiated who it goes to. They actually indexed that piece of paper. It went through our whole approval process, and I created a transaction in GP. That's simple. And all those 2 people before that don't even have to have access to GP. Now you're saying, okay, that's great. Now I want to pay the thing. What happens there? Well, that's even easier. I can go back into QuikTag right over here, and I'm now going to log into, as you guessed it, CFO. So I'm logged into over here as a CFO. Again, not very creative on the names, but let us be. And I'm in my work queue as a CFO. And you'll notice in my work queue, I have a few checks there that I need to approve. When I right-click on this, what you guys should see in front of you is the ever-so-famous computer checks edit list. It's not really the nicest thing in the world, but everyone is used to seeing. And it shows me a list of all the vouchers that are associated with this particular check. And I want to get some more detail on that before I, as the CFO, approves it. Well, I see over here there's two vouchers, voucher 200 and 356 for $34.98 and $11.50 respectively. If I want to see the details behind it, I just say right-click. And right over here I could say Show Associations. And it's going to show me a list of the vouchers that I'm paying with this. Now if I say, wow, $34.98, what does that relate to? Well, I could right-click on that and view the document. And what it's going to do is go back into QuikTag and show me all the documents that are associated with this particular voucher. Now, I'm looking at this and go, wow, $34.98. You know, that's a big amount. I don't quite understand who approved it. Well, I could take it a step further because remember we said earlier audit was important. I could right-click that and I could see the workflow history behind that transaction. So it was actually scanned at 9/6/2012 at 5 p.m. by approver. Again, we're not so good with the names of our people. And then it was actually approved at 5:07 p.m. at 46 seconds. So if this was John or Steve, I could actually go to them and go, why'd you approve this? But if this was fine, if I was okay with this, I could just go down here and again, hit approve, initiate the check printing and signing process. So what I just showed you there is a closed loop solution where the document comes in, comes through the desk, gets scanned in, gets indexed, gets approved, gets created in GP, and then the checking and printing of the checks and signing gets approved. All within QuikTag or GP. You didn't have to leave your desk, and you didn't lose a piece of paper. Now, you may have the opportunity where you say, you know what, Stu, that's great, but what if I just want to find documents? Well, it is. Let me ask this, and I'll ask this question to the team, and I'm hoping you're saying yes. Is it possible that you have users that have access, that don't necessarily have access to GP, but have the rights to see GP-related documents? I'm assuming some of you may say yes to that. They don't have a GP license, or they don't know how to use GP. Well, back in QuikTag, we have something called the QuikTag search or global search. And if I wanted to, I could just type in ENC2 over here, hit search, and there's my document for advanced for $1,500. And if I want to see the document, right over here, and I don't even have to have a GP license to be able to do that. Again, with the appropriate business process and security, we can make sure that this meets your requirements within your organization. Now, we can even take it a step further. I could say, you know what, that's great, but I don't remember what the document, who it was for. I don't remember what customer it was, but I do remember somewhere on the document was the word phones. Well, you'll notice over there it says document content. I'm going to move that from filing information to document content. And when I type in phones, it's going to actually search the content of the document for the document that has the words phones in it. And now when you see that come up on your screen, what you should see in blue is the word phones. And what we've done there is we actually leveraged the OCR functionality of Adobe to search for the content of documents. So you could search for the document content by filing information or for the actual document words that are in the document. So I just want to switch screens again. So what I just showed you there is how to use QuikTag in Great Plains, how to tag electronic documents and paper documents. I showed you how to be able to initiate that workflow, view documents. So when people say, hey, you know what, before using QuikTag, this is what our process looked like, typically after about a month or two in using Quick Payables in our workflow and approval process, they look like this. They're happy. The world's clear to them, and they're able to get the paper they need and electronic documents they need at the tip of their fingers. So I figure what I do now, because I did a lot of talking for the past 45 minutes or so, is open up the line for any questions or anything like that. So I'll leave it to you, Melissa, to see what's out there.
Thanks, Stu. That was awesome. Clay, have we opened the lines up for everybody, or have we received any? I don't see any questions. I assume you see them.
Yes, so we do have one question in the queue. And Sue, that question, I will give it to you right now. What format does it scan in, and does it scan to a network folder? Or how does it get to the KwikTag server, and in what format?
Okay, so as long as your digital copier or scanner can scan to FTP, or scan to file share, or scan to email, which is probably 95% of all copiers that were purchased in the past 15 years, we could work with that. So typically you configure a button on your copier that would scan to a file share, to an FTP site, or an email mailbox that KwikTag monitors. And then it would bring it in as a PDF. I hope that answers the question.
Awesome. Is there anyone else that has a question regarding the demo?
Sure. So I've got two other questions in the queue, and just as a reminder for the rest of the attendees, if you do have a question, you can go ahead and enter that right into the question area of your GoToWebinar toolbar. So the next question we have, is this a cloud solution or on-premise?
So that's a very good question. Right now, the KwikTag server would sit behind your firewall within your four walls. Although the vision of the organization is to offer a SaaS solution where this can sit in the cloud. There'll be more about that coming up in the next little while.
Perfect. The next question we have is, how do manual POs link to the invoices?
Manuals. Okay, well, what we didn't show today, and what we can show in a detailed demo, is we actually follow the life cycle of that paper document. So as a document is created in the PO level, and that, you know, you have your receiving and all the receiving documentation that's attached to GP, all those documents are available either from viewing from within GP or from our view associations within KwikTag. So you'll be able to see all the paper documents throughout the life cycle of the entire transaction. And if you like, we could set up a more detailed demo around that where we'll stage the data coming in that way.
Is there any more questions in the queue, Clay?
Yes, so I just got one in, and it perhaps is driving to a more personalized demo, but wondering if we have a demo specific for manufacturing order processing and purchasing.
We can't. I'd have to sit down with Melissa on that and prepare that, but we could probably work something out on that, no problem.
Yeah, so Susie, we'll be sure to follow up with you after the webcast to talk further through that and get something on the calendar. We do have a question in around licensing, and is there a per-user license fee for KwikTag?
It is based on named user, and then you could get that pricing through Melissa and Encore. What we typically do for pricing is we'll spend some time with you guys to understand what you're looking for on capture and your workflow and your approval process, and that proposal would include the required licenses and a statement of work, which is fixed bid, to get that up and running and configured based on your requirements. So it is a named user license, and again, depending on what kind of user it is, if it's an approver or a GP user, you'll be able to take advantage of that.
Okay, and we do have another question in the queue, and again, we might, look to some personalized follow-up on this as well. But wondering if the solution works the same for SOB, and are the documents accessible for customers through the website? We're interested in using it for customer invoices and backup.
So yes, so you're saying on sales order processing, yes, you can. You can attach, for example, if someone sends you a purchase request or a purchase order, and you want to attach that to sales order process flow. The same way I explained the purchase order processing, it does follow the life of the transaction right to the invoicing, so you'll be able to see all those related documents. And again, that similar to, if you guys like, we could set up a stage demo for you showing that process. We'll just have to set up a few transactions on that side.
Perfect. And I'm not showing any other questions in the queue right now, but I would like to just keep it open for a few more minutes and see if any do filter in.
Again, as those questions are coming in, if anyone needs more information, again, you could reach out to Melissa and more detailed, demo centered on your requirements. Reach out to Melissa, and we'll set that up accordingly.
Okay, and I am not seeing any further questions in the queue.
Okay, Kalei, that's awesome. What I'll do is I think I'll review the questions and reach out to each of you that submitted those questions that likely require us to gather a little bit more information in terms of your needs so that we can better address those questions. So hopefully in the next couple of days you'll hear from me. Moving forward for later today or tomorrow, I know as you think about it, you may have more questions. So on the screen is my email address, and you can always email me or you can call me and we can talk about it. And I want to just thank Stu and Clay for taking the time to present KwikTag. It was really, really good. It always makes me excited because I wish that everybody could be using it right now because I think it's an awesome product. And
me too.
Hopefully. Yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, we'll touch base with everybody in the next few days. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Melissa.